Perfect. All right, let me share my screen really quick. Present. All right. Welcome to the Virtual College Exploration for all students, sponsored by the Ohio Association for College Admission Counseling and StriveScan. Thank you for joining us for Gannon University. A few housekeeping announcements before we get started. You can use the Q&A button on your screen to type your questions to our presenters at any time. Your camera and microphone are off, so the panelists cannot see or hear you. This is just one of many different sessions happening, so be sure to check out the full schedule at oacac.org. This presentation is being recorded and will be available within about a week at that same website, oacac.org. And now I'd like to turn it over to our presenters, and you are good to go.
Alrighty, well, hello everyone. My name is Kristen Amendola, and I am joined by my fellow colleague here, Dawn Kassler. Her name is marked as my name, but her name is Dawn Kassler. Both of us work primarily with Ohio students, so we're both available as resources to all of you during your college search process. So excited to let you guys know more about Gannon, who we are, and just kind of give you a look into exactly who we are. So go ahead and share my screen here. Alrighty. So I always like to start off with a little bit of a brief background about Gannon and just exactly who we are, a little bit of history as well. So we were founded back in 1925. We are a Catholic diocesan university. So with that being said, when we were actually founded by the Bishop of Erie, Pennsylvania at the time. His name was John Gannon. So that is essentially where that Catholic aspect is rooted from and where the name Gannon University stems from. So yeah, a little bit of background there. And then I'm sure when all of you are considering different colleges and universities, maybe where you can see yourself picking up, you might be considering the size of that college or university. So at Gannon, we have a little over 4,000 students in total. So about 3,000 of those make up our undergraduate population and about 1,000 that make up the graduate population. So we would be considered a small to medium-sized university. And then just a ranking that we're really proud of is a US News and World Report in which we were ranked number 218 among different national universities. So very proud of that. And also, I'm sure when you all are considering different colleges and schools, I'm sure you're thinking about the location, a place that you can see yourself growing, thriving, and overall just enjoying. So I am an ERIE native. I've lived in ERIE, Pennsylvania my entire life. So very blessed and fortunate to have grown up here and just seen all the development that has happened, especially in the past year. So in ERIE, there's a lot to do, a lot of good things going on the recreational side of things. We have a theater district, minor league sports teams, the Erie Bayfront. So that's right off of Lake Erie there. So those overhead photos that you see really show a good overview of Lake Erie right in our backyard. That other overhead picture that you see is downtown Erie. So that is actually where Gannon's campus is located. So we are an urban campus. We have Lake Erie right in our backyard, just a few blocks away from campus. So really fortunate to have that really scenic view. And yeah, just a lot of great things to do indoors, outdoors, shopping, restaurants, all of that fun stuff. So a lot of great things at your disposal on the recreational side of things, as well as the professional and career growth side of things as well. So a lot of different internships, research opportunities nearby. Obviously being right on Lake Erie is great for research, especially for students who might be studying marine biology, different things like that. They can actually go into the water. We have what's known as our Environaut. That's a boat that actually goes onto Lake Erie. I was out boating a few weeks ago and I actually saw it, which was really cool. So it's Gannon owned. That boat actually goes into the lake, tests different pH levels of water and things like that. So really cool research there. And then also on the health science side of things, we are very nearby to a lot of hospitals. So first and foremost would be UPMC Hammett Medical Hospital is literally a 5-minute walk away from campus. So having that right at your disposal is awesome for those students who are pursuing health sciences. And then St. Vincent's, Shriners, the Veterans Hospital, all of those are just a short drive away. So A lot of great professional opportunities there. Also nearby to a lot of engineering firms, small businesses, large businesses, all different things like that, a lot of which are actually downtown. So within our same area, which is really cool. And then the ERIE Technology Incubator and the Small Business Development Center both work in conjunction with Gannon University, and both are really centered around entrepreneurship. If you're interested in business, starting your own business one day, you can utilize those resources to learn a little bit more about how to do so. So really cool professional opportunities right at your disposal. And now onto the academic side of things. So as you're thinking about majors, what you might want to get involved with and study. So we have a wide variety of different degree types, 7 associate's degrees, 64 bachelor's degrees. We have some pre-professional programs, cooperative professional school options, master's and doctoral degrees. Excuse me. So really any degree type that you're looking for, Gannon most likely offers it. So a lot of good opportunities there as you're looking around for what you might want to pursue as a potential career. And then when you think about, in terms of academics, the actual classroom setting, so where you'll be meeting with your professors, meeting students within the classroom, usually on the small size when it comes to that classroom setting. So 19 is the average class size. So you'll really get that individualized approach. The professor will absolutely know you by name. You'll really form good connections with those that you are in the classroom with, and just kind of have that teamwork element. And we have a 13-to-1 student to faculty ratio. So just putting that into perspective with that small campus size as well. And then we have what's known as our liberal arts core. So these are essentially the general education classes that every student will be taking regardless of major. So these could be classes such as theology, philosophy, public speaking, writing composition, all of those different ones that really help to develop you as a student, as a person in all different areas. So really well-rounded with that liberal arts core. And the liberal arts core classes can be taken at the honors level. So at Gannon, we have our honors program, a really great program that you can get involved with as a separate application compared to the actual Gannon application. So if you were interested in that, you would apply separately. And really the differentiating factor with the honors program is that it's very discussion-based, hardly any lecture or exams, very writing intensive. So if you enjoy speaking up in the classroom, writing essays, and just being involved and engaged in that way, it could be a really good, unique classroom setting for you. So something to think about. It does have specific criteria that you would have to meet, GPA-wise, having taken honors and AP classes during your high school career, that type of thing. So those things will be reviewed when you're applying to this program, but if this is something that interests you, definitely go for it. It's a really cool opportunity. And also on the academic side of things, I don't think it's ever too early to think about studying abroad. So we do have a lot of learning abroad opportunities. These could be semester-long programs, year-long programs, or even just a summer program that lasts 10 to 14 days. All are great options, and they really just allow you to travel, see different parts of the world, and learn. And you would go over with faculty, different members of the Gannon community, fellow students, and you would go to the 10 partner universities that we have abroad. And all of this is in conjunction with our travel program. So speaking from experience, I never thought I would study abroad in college, but I did. It was out of my comfort zone at the time, but it really just helped me grow and learn and develop a love for travel. So I got to spend some time in Rome, which is the picture that you see here in the background. So a really special place to me, and this is one of the travel abroad opportunities that Gannon offers specifically. And then if you have a passion for service, so obviously being a Catholic university, service is one of our key values and a big part of our mission. There's actually opportunities to travel both domestically and abroad and participate in service. So giving back to specific communities and just living out the mission essentially. So all of that is in conjunction with our Center for Social Concerns and Office of Campus Ministry. So they coordinate those alternative break service trips in which you would go over your spring break and do some traveling and participate in service. And now onto the admissions side of things. So very exciting that it's that time of the year again where students will be applying, finding out about acceptance, and starting to make those big decisions. Different methods that you can use. You can apply directly to Gannon's website, gannon.edu, and that's the Gannon online application. So just go to that website. It's a free application, and yeah, free and easy for the most part. And then there's also the same exact application in a paper format. So if you're more of a pen and paper kind of person, you can absolutely do that. It is the same application, just pen and paper. So 2 different options there. And then we are also a member of the Common application. So Common App is a great method if you are looking at multiple schools. As long as they're all members of the Common App, you could have that application on file and then send it out to multiple schools really easily. So a very big time saver with that one. So no method is preferred over the other. They are all perfect ways to look into applying to Gannon. And then this is a big one this year, just with everything going on. So this year we are not requiring the test scores. So the ACT or the SAT, they are totally optional for you, the seniors who would be entering in fall 2021. So just something to consider there. And then the main criteria that will be getting looked at for the admission side of things would be the transcripts that we get from your guidance counselor. So your official transcripts, those will make up a big part of the application. And then also letters of recommendation and essays will also be good parts of the application to include as well. They will be required this year. So letters of recommendation, you can have 1. I know the Common App typically requires 3. So the more the better. It all kind of just helps us see you in more of a light, in a personal way. So seeing leader, hearing about things you were involved with, that type of thing. So the same goes for the personal statement or essay. Another good way to just shine through as an individual and the leader, all of that good stuff. So we really enjoy reviewing those and learning more about you as a person. And also on the admissions side of things, we are rolling admissions, so something to keep in mind. No strict deadlines for the most part. So you can really apply to Gannon when you feel ready and when that feels right for you. So the one exception to this would be our 5-year physician assistant program. This does have a November 15th application deadline for this fall. So for that program, there is an interview component required and different criteria like that. So there is a deadline for when you apply to that program, but every other program you can really apply when you feel ready. So another little exception to the rolling admissions rule is limited enrollment. So a maximum capacity in which some programs fill up and then a wait list would be created. So for these programs that you see listed here, radiologic sciences, respiratory care, 5-year occupational therapy, and nursing, those 4 programs do have a limited enrollment number. So essentially the earlier you apply to those, the better. That way you can kind of lock in your spot, get secured, and get the ball rolling. So yeah, just something to think about, but rolling admissions for the most part. So any other programs, you're really good to apply when you feel ready. And then for admissions, we also accept AP credits and dual enrollment or College Credit Plus. We accept all of those. For the AP credits, an AP score exam would have to be a 3 or higher. For math and science, that would have to be a 4 or 5. So those will transfer over to Gannon. And then the same goes for dual enrollment. So we will accept those as well. And if those are later in your senior year, not necessarily completed at the time that you apply to Gannon, that's totally okay. You can send those to us later on in your senior year or whenever they get completed. They'll really factor in the most into your actual schedule that gets created for Gannon. So the classes you're taking, some of those may be waived based off of the AP scores and the dual enrollment College Credit Plus that you already have. So it can really be to your advantage with that. And then a big next step that students can take, they apply, they get accepted, and they really just want to give Gannon a firm yes that they really want to end up going there. They want to lock in their spot. To do so, you would pay the $100 enrollment deposit. So this is refundable. Typically, May 1st is that refund date. So let's say you paid that after you got accepted, you were pretty set on Gannon, but maybe you changed your mind. We totally understand that. That is absolutely okay. So we would refund that money back to you. But it is a good next step to take if you're pretty set on Gannon and you want to lock in your spot. So that would be something to consider after the time of acceptance. And now on the financial side of things, so obviously when thinking about schools, you're probably looking into scholarships and how to cover the cost of it all. So we totally understand that. So the main starting point for us will be the merit-based award. So you apply to Gannon, you get accepted, you would be receiving some type of merit-based scholarship. So anywhere between $15,000 and $22,000 being the maximum. So somewhere in that range, as long as you're accepted to Gannon. This is an annual award for students, so it's renewable for up to 5 undergraduate years. So it really makes a big difference. It's nice to know that you have the initial tuition price, but that will be getting significantly brought down based on this merit-based award that you get. So like I said, offered at the time of acceptance, nothing crazy you need to do on your end except apply to Gannon, get accepted. So the merit-based award is based off of the GPA that we receive. So the higher the GPA, the higher the award. And we do stack scholarships as well. So you'll start with that initial merit-based scholarship, and then any outside third-party ones you may have, or any other ones that you might receive from Gannon, will get stacked on top of that initial merit-based scholarship. So the more that you can get, the better. That would be my advice. So some Gannon scholarships that you could receive would be our open house competition scholarship. We have a fall open house that will most likely be taking place at the end of October, beginning of November, somewhere in that area into the late fall. So be on the lookout for dates for that. It will be a virtual open house, and there is an open house competition that takes place at that. So it's a scholarship competition that is academic based. So you can receive anywhere between $500 and $3,000 as an annual amount based off of how well you do in that competition. So something to be on the lookout for. And then if you're interested in music or the arts, we have our Schuster Memorial Music Scholarship and our Patron of the Arts Scholarship Award as well. Both of these have a March deadline. So it's just something to keep in mind if those are things that you're involved with currently. We also have a full tuition scholarship competition. This will typically take place in the spring semester, whether that's in person or virtual will still be to be determined. And as long as you're applying before December 15th, you would then potentially be invited to this if you meet specific criteria. So the criteria for this would be a 4.0 GPA and then a 1250 on the SAT. So just looking at different academic criteria like that and applying before that deadline will kind of help you to move on to that next step of being invited to that competition. So that is the one reason that having those test scores could pay off. It could really be factored into you, excuse me, being invited to that competition. So just something to keep in mind there. And then finally, Raise Me is a popular website that I would definitely encourage checking out. This would be one of those outside third-party websites, excuse me, that you can look into. And like I said, those scholarships will be added on top of your Gannon scholarship. So the more that you can get, the better. All right, so obviously everything that you saw previously is a huge part of your college decision. Location, the costs, academics, everything like that kind of gets factored in. But you also want to think about student life, a place where you can see yourself making lifelong friends, growing and thriving. So what you see here is a photo of a typical ERIE day. We get that lake effect snow, so a nice picture of our students making the most snowy day. So when thinking about student life, you'll obviously be thinking about where you'll be living on campus. I'm just going to take a break for water real quick. Losing my voice there. Excuse me. Okay, so first would be where you'd be living on campus. So we do guarantee housing all 4 years, so plenty of space available for students to be living in the residence halls. So we do offer that for all of your years, but we only require that you live on campus for freshman and sophomore year, and that is the only requirement there. So thinking about living on campus for your first year, you would have 2 different options, either North Hall or Finnegan Hall. North Hall is more of a suite style arrangement, so you could have 4 to 5 roommates, shared common area between the 4 or 5 of you, shared restroom and a kitchenette, so a really nice suite style living arrangement. And Finnegan Hall is a little bit different. That's more of the traditional style living arrangement. You'll usually have 1 roommate with you, communal restrooms down the hall, a lounge between the entire floor, that type of setup. So yeah, both are great options, very comfortable for that first time, probably living away from home. We get that. The main goal for us is to have it be comfortable, in a place that you enjoy living for that first time away from home. So both of these have air conditioning, kitchenettes, laundry, different amenities like that will really make it a good living arrangement for you. And they are both also kind of within the center of campus as well. So in very close proximity to where you would be doing your daily life. Academics, gym, everything like that is really nearby to these residence halls. And then also thinking about student life, academics as well, you'll probably be thinking about where you'll be studying. So Maybe you'll spend some time studying in your actual dorm, but if you want to get away and really get a good place to focus, we have the NASH library available to you. So one of our more modernized buildings on campus, newly renovated back in 2017, a really great spot to go and study. So you can even see from the outside, it kind of has that modern look. So there are 3 floors to the NASH library. So the top floor is a designated quiet floor. So totally silent, a good place to go to be free from distractions and really just focus on your studies. And then we also have floors that are more for group collaboration, working with other students, that type of setup. So totally up to you, whatever works best for your studying style is available to you in here. Plenty of equipment that you can rent out, and everything that you might need will be in the library. So a really great resource to take advantage of. They have very early hours in the morning, and they're open pretty late as well, 2 a.m. on weeknights. So if you're a late night studier, that will be available to you. If you study best in the morning, you've got that too. And then obviously it is open throughout the entire day as well. And also on the student life side of things, we have our Waldron Campus Center. So this is essentially the social hub of campus, kind of the center point of it all. It really is basically in the center of campus, so close proximity to everything you might need. So within here, you could grab a bite to eat. We have 2 different dining style options. So we have Docks Landing and Knights Cove, both of which are a good grab and go option. You can also take the food and eat it right in that same area, grab a bite to eat with friends. So both have really good food, I can attest to that. And then we also have the Buyer Cafeteria. So that is the main dining hall at Gannon, so the largest one on campus. You swipe your ID card in, and once you're in, you're able to eat as much as you want. So a lot of good variety in the cafeteria, and everything that you would need to eat would probably be there. So a lot of good options within this area. So in addition to having places to go to get a bite to eat, there are also late night study spaces in the Waldron Campus Center as well. So like I said, a really popular spot on campus to meet with friends, grab a bite to eat, and maybe even study. And then we also have what's known as the nightclub. So kind of a play on words here because it's open late at night, and the Gannon Golden Knights are our mascots. So you've got this to grab a bite to eat with friends. They host student events. Probably not the best place to go study just because sometimes they have live music and things like that. It is more of a loud atmosphere, but definitely a great place to go to meet up with friends and just have a place to relieve some stress. And it is a substance-free environment as well. And now when you're thinking about schools that you might be looking at, maybe there are things that you're involved with currently in high school that you want to continue, or maybe you're looking to really just kind of switch it up and try all new things. So I can assure you at Gannon, there will be something that will fit what you're looking for. So there's over 100 active clubs and organizations. So there really is a niche for everyone, which is awesome. So really good to get involved. You may want to get involved with Greek life. So sororities and fraternities, we have those on campus. We also have some organizations that are more service-based, so giving back to the ERIE community and beyond. If you're interested in leadership, we have Student Government Association. Maybe you're interested in event planning events both on and off campus, kind of doing the behind the scenes of all of that. You may want to get involved with the Activities Programming Board. We also have commuter life for those students from the ERIE area that commute to campus, so a way for them to get involved and meet more people. And then we also have academic organizations as well. So overall, a wide variety of different clubs and organizations that you may look into getting involved with. And now wellness. So this is a really big theme on the Gannon campus. It's really emphasized amongst everyone in the Gannon community. We even have an annual Gannon Wellness Fair. So really just a day that promotes wellness, health, mind, body, and spirit. So first, athletics, that would qualify under that body aspect of wellness. So for varsity sports, we are Division II, and we do have 22 different NCAA varsity sports. So if there were any sports that anyone was looking to get involved with, there is a recruitment process in place. There are athletic scholarships available as well. So for that recruitment process, you would begin by reaching out to the coach of the specific sport, kind of just making that initial connection, and then they would kind of help you from there and set up a meeting and all of that good stuff. So something to consider if you're thinking about continuing a sport at the varsity level in college. And if you don't necessarily want to continue one at the varsity level, you can always get involved with club sports or intramural sports. We have a good amount of both. So club sports are really fun because you'll still be playing other teams from other schools. You'll still be traveling a good bit, but not necessarily that big commitment that goes along with varsity sports. And then intramural sports are just super fun. You'll be playing other Gannon teams. It's still competitive. It has that competitive edge, but a little more laid back and really just a good way to meet people. You could even try a new sport. So all fun things there. And then also on that wellness side of things, so I mentioned that annual wellness fair that we have at Gannon. It's always hosted here in the Recreation and Wellness Center. My personal favorite spot on campus, great place to work out, relieve some stress, all of that good stuff. So this was modernized back in 2014, so it's very newly renovated. It has a lot of equipment that were recently upgraded, everything like that. So within here, there's different cardio machines, weight machines, there's even a swimming pool, and then there's also a group fitness studio. So if you're interested in Zumba, yoga, Pilates, any group fitness classes like that, you can get involved with those, which is super fun. So within here, just a lot of good amenities and unique ways to work out. And you'll see the photo here in the background is the Gannon Indoor Field House. So some of our athletic teams will practice here. They'll have different events here, different games and things like that. So just a really unique part of this entire facility. All right, and that is everything that I have prepared for everyone today. So now I will kind of begin with the question portion of it all. So I also have my contact information here if anyone wants to take a screenshot or picture of that, if you were looking to follow up with questions that might come up after this as you're doing the college search process. So we're going to go ahead and look into some questions now. Let's see. Okay. So I have one here that says, is Mass required? So since we are, good question, since we are a Catholic university, the assumption may be that you do have to go to Mass, that type of thing, but Mass is not required. So you will not have to do that. It's totally optional and available to you. So retreats, Mass, service, everything like that is not required, but really cool things to get involved with there. The only requirement, I guess you could say, on the Catholic aspect side of things would be taking 2 theology classes. So besides that, Mass is not required. Okay. Another one here. Okay, so I have a question here asking about safety on campus. Good question. So yes, since we are a downtown campus, that would be a common question and probably something that you're considering. So first and foremost, we have the Gannon Police and Safety Force. So they're open 24 hours. Anytime I'm on campus going for a walk or anything, I always run into at least one police officer from Gannon. So they're constantly monitoring and walking around and just kind of checking on everything, which is really reassuring. So you've got them at your disposal. And then we also have what's known as our Live Safe app. So this is something that Gannon uses to kind of have like a speed dial for students if they ever felt like they were in need of help, they were in an emergency. They can easily use that app to contact campus police and safety and get dispatched to them immediately. And then on that app as well, we also have the Night Watch. So this is essentially a shuttle that runs on Gannon's campus at night. So you have access to that through the app. So if you want it picked up, let's say from the library to get shuttled back to your dorm at night, it was late at night, maybe it was a snowy night too, you could contact them easily and they would come and get you. So that is also in conjunction with campus police and safety. So overall, they do a wonderful job. We're also nearby to the ERIE Police Authority, so they're downtown as well. So you'll run into a lot of them as well, just kind of monitoring and checking everything out. So good question. I understand that that is a popular thing to think about for sure. It's definitely our priority. Let's see. Is there a major in hospitality management or digital marketing? That was another question that I had. So we do not have a hospitality management major. We do have a management major, so it's a little more, it's in our business school. It is more human resources based. We also have a sports marketing and management major as well, so that might kind of fall into that category. And then another major that was asked about is digital marketing. So we do have that major, yes. It is under a different name. Off the top of my head, it might be the same name, but yes, essentially that is what the major entails. So digital marketing, yes. So all of those would be within our School of Business. Good question. Another one that we just got is, can freshmen have a car on campus? Good question. So unfortunately, it is pretty tough for freshmen to have a car on campus for that first year, just because since we are downtown, kind of a limited amount of parking spaces. We have some parking garages that are Gannon owned, but so for that first year, it's pretty tough just because of that limited amount of space. But sophomore year on, we do guarantee that freshmen can have a parking pass on campus. They can park in those garages, and we just have to pay for a parking pass. So short answer is no, but there are some exceptions. If there was an emergency or a really big reason why you needed one on campus for your first year, you would work with campus police and safety to coordinate that. And just speaking from experience, so during my college experience, I don't think I had a car on campus until junior year, just because at that point in time, that was when I was starting internships and jobs that were off campus. So at that point, I did need a car, but for those first few years, I would carpool with people, walk around, and especially with Gannon too, being downtown, so many popular places to walk to if you're looking to get groceries or grab a bite to eat, anything like that, you can really walk to it. So it's a very walkable city. And the same goes for Gannon's actual campus. So very easy to navigate and walk as well. So if you're looking to get from one end of campus to the direct other end, so the very other end of campus, it can usually be done in about 10 minutes or less. So very walkable. Even if you're rolling out of bed late to class one morning, you might still make it with some time to spare. So you wouldn't ever have to shuttle to class or anything like that, just because it's easy to get from point A to point B. Another one, do you know any? Okay, I missed that one. Okay, another one that we just had come in is let's see, on-campus jobs. Good question. So yes, there are a lot of on-campus jobs for students. So some of these would be a work study, and some would just be an on-campus job where you would get paid at an hourly rate. So some of these could include being a campus tour guide in the Office of Admissions. I'm biased because I work in admissions, but just a really fun one where you can actually give tours of campus, show students around, and just talk about the school that you're passionate about, which is really cool. So there's that. You can work in the Recreation and Wellness Center, cleaning machines, getting people checked in, all of that good stuff. You can work in the library, different coffee shops and things like that on campus as well. I know they hire students. So yes, you can easily get a job on campus. You can walk right from your dorm to do that, which is just so convenient. You can also be an RA, so a resident advisor. So sophomore year and above, you can actually live within a dorm and kind of facilitate everything, work with underclassmen, monitor everything, and just kind of help them transition for that first year of college. So yeah, all of the dorms have RAs, so resident advisors that will live in them and just kind of coordinate different events, check up on roommate situations, all of that good stuff. So going off of that as well. So for finding a roommate, this isn't a question that came in, but might be one that comes to mind when you guys are thinking about where you might want to go to school. So for actually finding a roommate, we have a housing application that will open in the spring. So this housing application is essentially where you can pick where you would prefer to live between North Hall and Finnegan Hall, the two options. And you can also begin your roommate search. So the roommate search is very specific and thorough. You can really filter it out to kind of do a match system. So you can say, I want someone who's a morning person, or a night person, someone who's in the same sport as me, same major, anything that you think of that comes to mind that might make a good match and a roommate for you can help us when matching you with your roommate. So it really is nice. If you know someone that's also going to Gannon, you can mutually choose each other. So really the roommate situation is kind of what you make of it. So no matter what, the goal is to get you a good match and someone that you will live well with. So yeah, that's kind of what that looks like. Like I said, that opens up in March, I believe. So into the spring semester is when you would begin looking at housing, thinking about roommates, choosing a meal plan, all of that. So all of that also comes with paying the $100 enrollment deposit that I mentioned. So you apply to Gannon, you get accepted, And then you're like, okay, I really want to secure my spot in my academic program, but I also want to begin finding roommates, figuring out housing, all of that. That is when you would pay that $100 deposit and kind of make those next steps possible. Good questions. Another one that I had that came in is about the fall open house. So yes, like I said, the date is not set in stone yet. I would anticipate the end of October, beginning of November, somewhere in that area. So for sure, check your email from all the emails you get from Gannon. It'll be on our website once that gets locked in. And it will be virtual, that's for sure. So it will be a virtual fall open house. Most likely there will be faculty involved, admissions, different members of the Gannon community that will be there as a resource to chat with students that are thinking about going to Gannon. So really exciting. And then the scholarship component of that. So typically in past years, what that would look like would be a scholarship competition that's academic based. So specifically based off of the major that you're looking into, you would take usually an hour-long test within that major, take that test, and then a couple weeks later, you would find out how much scholarship money you received, if you received any, based off of how well you performed on that test. So yeah, that's something that will look a little different this year, but still hopeful that it'll be a really good scholarship competition. And yeah, just something that will add up to that financial aid component of it all. There's so many ways to get scholarships and just keep stacking them all. So yeah. Let's see. How long after you submit your application and all materials will you know if you are accepted? So good question. So let's say you apply, get accepted to Gannon, kind of the timeline of that all. So you apply. Typically you would find out in about 3 to 4 weeks if you got accepted. So that's usually the timeline that is in place. And yeah, it's a pretty quick turnaround time for that. So when you apply and get accepted, you would then also find out about the merit-based scholarship. So another question that might come up is, does everyone receive the merit-based scholarship? So the answer to that is yes. So as long as everyone that gets accepted will receive some type of merit-based scholarship somewhere between that 15 and 22,000 range. And once again, that is based off of the GPA. So test scores will not be factored into that. So just to keep that all in mind. I believe that is all the questions that we've had.
Kristen, there's another question here.
Sure.
Someone had a question about a 3-2 program for athletic training.
Yes. So yes, we do have that program. That is a 5-year program at Gannon. And yes, it's a 3+2. So you would start with that, those 3 years. You would graduate a Bachelor of Science at that point after those 3 years. And then for those remaining 2 years, that would be the graduate portion. And then you would graduate a Master's of Athletic Training. You would graduate with that degree. So yes, we do offer that. Good question. Any other questions, anyone? These are all the ones that I've seen. All right.
I cut it on my video on right before. I'm sorry. I didn't know you had more questions.
Oh, that's okay. All good. Yeah.
Right. Any
No
more
worries.
questions? All right. Let me share my screen again.
Sure. And thank you everyone for joining tonight. It's been a pleasure telling you all about Gannon.
Absolutely. I really enjoy learning about Gannon. Thank you.
Love that. Love that.
Yeah. Thank you, everybody, for joining. When you close this window, there will be a link to a very quick 4-question survey. We'd appreciate any feedback that you can provide. And also, this was just one of many sessions being hosted. Be sure to sign up for additional sessions at oacac.org. In about a week, you'll be able to find this session's recording, as well as all the other sessions recording at oacac.org. And thank you for joining Gannon University, and I hope everybody has a wonderful rest of their night.
Thank you.
Yeah, no problem.